CM Punk returns to WWE and has already pissed off certain top stars. There's details on how Punk's return came about. We have an update on Drew McIntyre's WWE future, and another surprise name was backstage at Survivor Series. Hello and welcome to the Solo Sunday News here at What Culture Wrestling. Myself, Andrew Ballard. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. Cry me a river because CM Punk is back in WWE. Yes, that went down at Survivor Series last night. We have a full recap of Survivor Series with Adam Wilborn and Michael Hamflett on the channel. That is what went down, as well as the live stream from those two lovely fellas. But yes, Punk came out of the close of Survivor Series after the babyface team had won the men's War Games match. Cool personality hit. Punk posed. Chicago, obviously, of course, went absolutely nuts. And then the pay-per-view, or the premium live event, went off the air. So there's some details that have come out in the time since then, and mainly from Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp over there, who always does such a great job with the scoops on basically how all of this came about. Now, what you will have seen if you paid attention to Survivor Series was Drew McIntyre storming to the back before Punk came out, and then after Survivor Series, there is some fan footage that's on social media where Seth Rollins had to be restrained by Michael Cole, Corey Graves, some officials, some referees, and was very clearly shouting words I can't say on this channel because we'll get demonetized, but F you to CM Punk is the short and long of it all. So yes, for those in the arena, in the All-State Arena, they got to see Seth losing his mind at Punk. Now, this ties in with some stories from Fightful Select where certain top talents are pissed off that CM Punk is in the company. And also because nobody knew about this. Well, some people did, but producers, officials, the roster, referees, there was lots of people kept in the dark about this revelation that CM Punk was returning to WWE and returning at Survivor Series. Now, those involved in the main event were supposedly told before that match that CM Punk is coming back. He's going to appear at the end of the premium live event. And so this is kind of cool. This is see wherever CM Punk goes. There's lots to talk about. Now with this, you've got Rollins, who then supposedly was looking for Punk in the gorilla position once he got backstage, and was ushered away by Bruce Pritchard and Triple H, which left CM Punk looking confused and made for a bit of an awkward moment. As for Drew McIntyre, now he was said to be visibly upset, cursing, slamming a locker room door, putting on a hoodie, and I'm going to guess in an angry fashion, get that hoodie on, and then left the building shortly after the event concluded. And those who've checked in on McIntyre since then were told that, yes, this relates to CM Punk. So, already causing controversy is old Phil. It's said to be not all negative, just mainly a little bit negative, but not all negative. There were many who were happy to see Punk back in WWE. There was, of course, plenty of old friends there from his initial run with the company, which came to an end nearly 10 years ago. Yes, his last appearance was the Royal Rumble 2014, which is crazy to think that that's nearly 10 years ago, man. That CM Punk got dumped out by Kane, or pulled off. It was just like, what going out of a whimper. But CM Punk is back in WWE. Now, again, with Fightful Select, in terms of how and when this all came about, it was said to be all very last minute. In fact, the contract for Punk to return to WWE was signed the day of Survivor Series. There was a meeting last week, I believe it was November the 19th, between CM Punk and Triple H, Paul Levesque, which ran for about an hour and was a very productive chat. They essentially buried the hatchet, mended fences, put any issues behind them. As Triple H said in the post PLE press conference, that we're different people to what we were 10 years ago. I'm sure you're a different person to what you are 10 years ago. I am. And Triple H says that he's a different person to who he was 10 years ago, as is CM Punk, as is WWE. The company itself is different to what it was 10 years ago. Notably, there's no Vince McMahon running things. But yeah, the talks seemingly only actually really started about the return once the rumors of the return died down. So there was all that talk and all the rumblings and all the speculation of CM Punk return to WWE. And then all that speculation went, nah, it's not happening. Seemingly that's when the talks actually did start. So this is something that's come together essentially in the last week or so. It's got the wrestling world talking, and that is what you get with CM Punk. Now, he is scheduled to be on Raw tomorrow. So, again, that is something that now becomes kind of destination viewing for a lot of people, even if those people are just wanting to watch so that they can shout on social media about CM Punk killing the business or whatever. But yeah, Drew McIntyre, just to kind of pivot from him being visibly upset. And there's a story, I believe it was yesterday, was it, from PW Insider? Again, Mike Johnson over there always does such a phenomenal job him and his team, that Drew McIntyre has still not agreed a contract extension with WWE. Now, McIntyre's present deal is due to expire shortly after WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania XL, which is in April. So what, 5 months away? Which isn't ideal. Now, negotiations between the two parties, between WWE and Drew McIntyre, are said to have not become deep discussions just yet, because WWE is under the impression that, yeah, we've got plenty of time to play with. There's no rush. We've got until April, which really isn't that far away. Now, from McIntyre's side, again, PW Insider notes that he's quite happy just to take a bit of a break if needed. As in, if you can't agree terms, then he's open to the idea of going back to Scotland for an extended period, spend some time with family and friends, because living in the US permanently for so long and working the schedule that WWE has, it's hard for someone like Drew McIntyre to get back to, in this case, Scotland, and spend any significant time there. You might get the odd day or two as part of European tours, but yeah, so McIntyre is quite open to just like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm going to sit things out. I'm going to go and visit my family, see my friends, and then we can come back to the table if things can't be agreed in time by April after WrestleMania 40. So that's something else to keep an eye on. And somebody else who was backstage at Survivor Series, you had CM Punk. You had the return of Randall Keith Orton, and you had Stephanie McMahon. She was there. Now, this is a story from Fightful Select again, where Stephanie was visiting, hanging out, not working, essentially. She wasn't there in any sort of official capacity, because these days she doesn't have any official capacity with WWE per se. Now, of course, Stephanie resigned as chairwoman and co-CEO back in January. That was when Crazy Vince strong-armed, forced his way back onto the board of directors. Yeah, man, it's nuts to look back on all of that. Now, that itself came, I think it was last summer, Stephanie announced plans to step away, to take a hiatus, and then all the alleged sexual misconduct allegations against Vince and the hush money that came out. So Vince was then forced to, well, he openly chose to retire. Nah, you didn't, mate. You were totally forced into that, because, yeah. And that's when Stephanie came back and took on the co-CEO and chairwoman role, which she then walked away from in January when her old man decided that, nah, I'm going to take the power back. And just crazy times. But this crazy times of CM Punk returning has meant that there has been an absolute bunch of questions that have come in today. So I'm going to get through these as quickly as I possibly can and see if I can get to as many as I can, because there is like absolutely loads. Mark Solid, brilliant picture of Apollo there, a dog. As always, send me your pictures of your pets on a Sunday. It helps the day go a lot quicker. Morning, Andrew. Apollo says hi. Hello, Apollo. Who is CM Punk's first feud? I'd say Seth, for how he reacted to Punk's return, but I don't know about putting him in the world title program right away. Thoughts? That's an interesting one. That's kind of like the open goal there. That's right, like lined up already. To me, I think that's something you can maybe hold off till WrestleMania, but then I'd already thought that Gunther and Seth at WrestleMania would be good. So, yeah, I don't know that you could easily go straight to Seth Rollins. You could easily go straight to Drew McIntyre, because, of course, while there is all these I should probably have added, was all the stories about Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre being angry about CM Punk coming back and blah, 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 blah. It's wrestling. In wrestling, not everything you see is real. This could, to me, I feel like elements of this are a work with Seth and McIntyre, because even if they are angry at CM Punk coming back, even if for some reason they're pissed off at him coming back, I think both of those people are professional enough to not show it in front of, however many thousand people were in Allstate Arena. Seth Rollins, if he was angry at somebody on a professional level, I don't think he'd be cursing them out, dropping F-bombs in front of, So anyway, as for who Punk's first feud is, I really don't know, I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura could be a fun one, because by all accounts, that wasn't what Nakamura's been hinting at in recent weeks, but that naturally fits with CM Punk, so you could do that. I just think the way things were with Rollins, it kind of feels weird not to go to that because of how heated it seems, if it is a work or a shoot, brother. So Hector Garcia III's got in touch. Hey, Hector. Happy Solo Sunday. Thinking of the Survivor Series and upcoming Iron Claw movie, who would you book from the current WWE roster in a War Games match against David, Kevin, Kerry Von Erich, Terry Gordy, and Michael Hayes, and who wins? Also, expectations of the movie. For the movie, I'm mildly optimistic. I believe that obviously there's elements that will be missing because that is always the case with a movie adaptation of someone's life. It's a fictionalized version of it essentially, so there are going to be bits that are missing. I'm optimistic about it. The trailer looks good, and there might be something we're doing with that on the channel. So keep an eye on that. Some irons in the fire, as it were, no pun intended. As for who wins in that match and who I'd book against him, I would just off the top of my head, I would go with the Judgment Day. Drew McIntyre, why not? And I'd probably have the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre go over because Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy turn on the Von Erichs. There we go. Right, as I said, I'm going to try and get through these as quick as possible. That dude's got in touch. Hey, legend, good morning. First time poster, do you think the CM Punk signing was a response to Will Ospreay signing with AEW? Also, who would you like to see Punk feud with first? Have a great rest of the day. Right. Covered the feud bit. I'd go with Nakamura, but I feel like kind of have to go with Rollins now. As for Punk being a response to Will Ospreay signing with AEW, I don't know. I mean, you could look at it that way. Will Ospreay, wherever Will Ospreay landed, he was going to be a massive get for that company. It's a big deal. Will Ospreay, the best wrestler on the planet right now, possibly. I'd probably maybe go with Bryan Danielson, but Ospreay's like thereabouts. He's absolutely brilliant. So it's a massive get for AEW. I don't really think the CM Punk one was a response to that. I'd say myself. Right, Dale Crosby's. How long do you reckon Punk lasts? I think he'll be okay. I think Crazy Phil will be okay for a little while. Michael's got in touch. Hope you're having a wonderful day. If you had to pick wrestlers to swap decades and put on classic matches, who would you choose and why? If I'm understanding this correctly, that's taking one wrestler from one decade and swapping him with another wrestler from another decade, and it will be Bret Hart and it will be Kurt Angle. That means that Kurt Angle gets to have matches against Owen Hart, gets the Bulldog in his prime. That Shawn Michaels, who was great at that point in time, and obviously was great when he came back and did have great matches with Kurt Angle. Razor Ramon, I think I'd put Angle in there, and then that also means, I mean, obviously Kurt did have that dark match against Owen Hart, but I just think that is too good to say no to. Kurt Angle versus the 1, 2, 3 kid would absolutely bang hard. But then on the flip side, you get Bret Hart in that kind of late 90s, early 2000s, where you can get Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero, Bret Hart and Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, Brock Lesnar, Bret Hart, Rey Mysterio. There's a Bret Hart, Rob Van Dam, one of a kind. Yeah, there's a lot there you can do. Bret Hart and The Rock in obviously there was a match against Rocky Maivia, but there's a lot there you can do. Bret and Shawn, when Shawn comes back, there's an interesting one. Right, I'm losing track of these questions because there's so many CM Punk ones. Danny G, how long do you think it'll be before WWE have to fire Punk for his disruptive behavior? No, I think Phil will be okay. I think in this environment he will be okay this time around. The Triple H led WWE, guys. DYNE, I got a question. Why do people continue to put their faith in problematic and toxic individual like CM Punk, despite how many times he burns bridges with professional wrestling? Or is it just different this time because it isn't AEW? I think that is part of it. As for why people take a chance on CM Punk, it's because he gets people talking. Love him or hate him, people talk about CM Punk when CM Punk does things. He brings eyes to programming. We saw with AEW, he'd get that. Well, was it the first $1 million gate? There was the rating spike they had when Punk arrived in terms of Rampage, and then when he's on Dynamite, Collision. The numbers on Collision now, just compared to when it launched, and it's not just CM Punk. There are other factors involved in that. So CM Punk is a difference maker. He's water cooler talk. He is somebody that the lapsed fan know about and will come back to watch. I just think that it's something like that you're always going to take a chance on because the upside is far more than the negative, or the possibility of the upside, the possible upside is far more than the negative, because negative is just get rid, fire, that's it, he's gone. But the positives that could come are worth taking a gamble on. And in terms of burning bridges, I don't know if it's a tricky one with Punk. Obviously there have been problems, but the WWE one last time around, it's like it wasn't like he caused a massive fuss. There was the whole stuff with a staph infection that wasn't diagnosed and wasn't being treated, and mix that with creative frustration. So it wasn't like, I don't know. I think there was a lot of sympathy for CM Punk at that time. The AEW stuff, daft, absolutely daft. Confronting Jack Perry, absolutely daft. After that, what happened at Brawl Out, to then do it again just before you're about to go out and wrestle at Wembley Stadium in front of whatever, 78,000 people, 81,000 people, whatever the number was. But the all-in stuff, again, I kind of, there was a lot he did wrong. Sorry, Brawl Out. There was a lot he did wrong, but there was a lot that other people did wrong where it's like, you can't do that as EVPs. Have a word with yourself. Outdoor Gaming 92, with Miz losing to Gunther, who at this point do you see even possibly being able to take the belt off him? Chad Gable. That is the answer. Yogi Konu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Was you genuinely shocked by CM Punk's return, or did you see the clues? Have a great Sunday, sir. You have a great Sunday too, Yogi. I was shocked. Yeah, caught me off guard. I'm pleasantly surprised. Stephen Peters, hey, God, you love Peck? That's me. Is it just me, or is Randall Keith noticeably bigger than Drew McIntyre now? Like, dude spent his entire recovery in the gym. I don't think he's bigger than Drew McIntyre, but Randy Orton was in phenomenal shape, is in phenomenal shape. So, yeah, obviously he's been busy working hard. Andrew Ebling has got in touch. Sometimes I come on this post and find I'll probably get in the news because there are no questions. Today will be hard. Roman Reigns to beat Hulk's reign and WrestleMania 41 as a Punk versus Rhodes match. You talked about changing the business. I did it and you went and messed it up. I mean, Punk and Cody is something you will get to at some point in time. That's an open goal that's right there. As for whether they allude to AEW, I don't know. WWE seems to be not too keen on that. They kind of position themselves as above it. As for Roman Reigns beating Hulk Hogan's record, I don't know. I think it's like roundabout SummerSlam time. Next year's SummerSlam, he'd have to get to break Hulk's record. I don't think he gets there. Well, no, I do. I think he do. No, he does. He does. I think he gets there. That was my controversial thing for a video that is not been released yet. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. Stephen Peters, hey Andrew, I normally hit you with early 90s WCW love, and I always appreciate that. But today I have to ask, was Randy Orton's return overshadowed by CM Punk's? Personal opinion says unfortunately yes. This felt like terribly rushed and short-sighted booking strictly for a pop. I'd love to hear your opinion. I don't think so, no. I think as well that the way that they held off on Randy Orton, there was a tease that he might not be in the match. I think that made it, when he did turn up, a lot bigger. And obviously you'd had Rhea Ripley come out before that, and there was a tease of the cashing of the Money in the Bank contract briefcase from Senor Money in the Bank. So to me, I don't feel that Randy Orton, yes, it probably was overshadowed in some ways, but I think you'd already got what you could out of that, and it'd been hyped ahead of time, so it wasn't so much of a surprise. If Randy Orton made a surprise return, then he would have been totally overshadowed. But you got all the hype leading up to it. We knew this was happening, and so I don't think it takes away too much shine. David Newport, do you think AEW knew about CM Punk's WWE return, and that was why they put Rampage and Collision on at the same time as Survivor Series? Either way, hell just froze over, and we'll never hear the end of it from Adam Wilborn. Yes, you will not hear the end of that from Adam Wilborn. But I don't think AEW knew about CM Punk's return, because I don't, like, why would they? It said that some of Punk's close friends have been told by him about that. I mean, that's probably like, Ace Steel, somebody who's not with AEW. As for why they put Rampage and Collision on at the same time as Survivor Series, no, but Rampage, neither Rampage nor Collision was ever going to be any sort of competition for Survivor Series. They could have put Dynamite on, and that would have been no competition for Survivor Series. I mean, they could even ran their own pay-per-view last night, and you'd have to question whether that would be any realistic competition for Survivor Series. Jacob, I might be the only non-CM Punk question. Who would win in a kayfabe fight? MJF with a bad leg or Seth Rollins with a bad back? It's a schmaz, brother. It's a double count out. It's a double disqualification. That's about it. I think that is it. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. There's other questions I can't get to because time constraints. So yes, thanks for sending all those questions. There's been a lot. Hopefully this hasn't gone way too long. If so, apologies to editor Ryan. But yes, this has been the Solo Sunday News here with myself, Andrew Ballard at What Culture Wrestling. Be sure to have a great day. The rest of the lads will be back tomorrow. I'll be back next weekend. Or will I? Will I be back next weekend? Yeah, I will be back next weekend. Right. Have a good one. I'm off to watch AEW Collision.